All right, y'all. Happy Saturday. Hopefully, you guys are having a good day. Let me fix my chair again, as we usually do here on these reaction shows here on Saturday. Again, hopefully, having a good day. Talking about the conference championships reaction here. We've got several games to talk about. I guess we'll start from the beginning of the day to what just happened. Well, it's currently going on. So, earlier today, Big 12 championship game, Texas Tech 34, BYU 7. No surprise here. I thought that Texas Tech, especially the lines of scrimmage on defense and on the offensive line, I didn't think BYU could block them. They didn't. That was somewhat validated. So congrats to Joe McGuire and then company. A huge win for them, first outright Big 12 championship in program history, and also I believe the first 12-win season or 10, or really basically the best season in Texas Tech football history, even surpassing that 2008 year with Mike Leach, Michael Crabtree, and Graham Harrell. So congrats to Joe McGuire and company. You got it done. Dominant. Now, I will say this for them, as we do talk about the winners first year, they did leave some stuff on the field, could have had more points. Certainly there was, they had a couple of field goals, but besides that, they played pretty well and they played almost flawlessly. So hats off to them. As for BYU, they're not making the playoff. I think the fact that it looked this bad twice against a somewhat competent team. Not somewhat competent. They are competent. They are a good team. They are an elite team. And you faced them twice and you look pretty bad. You give up, I think, what is it now, combined 50-plus points. So I think BYU is probably done. And this definitely makes it to where if you're a Notre Dame fan or a Miami fan, it makes it a little more likely that you could be in the playoff, given that BYU has been maxed out. So at least that result earlier in the day made you feel a bit more better. So I guess there was that. So, yeah, that game, not really that entertaining. But if you're a sadistic like me or you're a Texas Tech fan, then congratulations. You got yourself your first Big 12 championship game win. Next game up on the slate, on the ABC slate here. I guess we'll knock out the next one. SEC championship game. Georgia 28, Bama 7. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Kind of like that Auburn 2017, Auburn, Georgia SEC championship, 28-7. Very similar type of game. Very physical game. Very, excuse me, a very physical game, ground and pound game. Georgia offensively used their will. They finally got their Bama problem figured out. At least at the moment, they got it figured out. Much like Ohio State last week. Again, like I said on the preview, both on both shows, this was a major psychological hurdle for Georgia. No doubt about it. Okay, like killing the board versus these Nick Saban-esque assistants, his minions. He was undefeated, right? He was undefeated versus Dane Lanning, undefeated at the time versus Kirby and Sark and all of them. Not anymore. And Georgia made them pay for it. They were the more physical team. They were the slightly more healthier team. The offense looked efficient. Defense was great. By the way, the pass rush finally showing up. Thank you if you're a Georgia fan. Probably saying that a bunch of times during the game. Getting to Ty Simpson. This was a statement win for Georgia. A statement win for Kirby. Just where they were psychologically when they faced that script A of Alabama. Huge win for them. Huge I'm so excited I can't even say it. A huge psychological win for them. There you go. Slow down here. I know I'm really excited here, but yeah. A huge psychological win for them, for Bama, to get this, or for Georgia over Bama, to get this over with. So, congrats to them. Congrats to Kirby Smart and them. Yet another SEC championship. Out of that now. That's 4, I believe, for Kirby Smart. There's going to be a lot said about Bama, for sure. They didn't look very good. Basically, this game, to me, was a combination of both injuries, the inability, there we go, the inability to run the football, injuries piling up, all of those sort of, and not to mention special teams now, just all of those things. This was a combination of things that Bama has been struggling with over the past month or so. And it contributed to probably the worst loss in terms of point margin in the Killing the Board era. This was, I think, jarring for Bama fans because at the very least in the Nick Saban era, you had very, very few games where you looked at Bama and said, yeah, they got dominated, right? The only other comparison is what the Clemson National Championship game of Trevor Lawrence's freshman year That's probably it, right? In the Saban era. Maybe I guess maybe that Texas game a couple years ago in Saban's final year. This was jarring to watch. Like this felt like the Bama losses last year, right? The losses to Vanderbilt, the losses to Oklahoma. Okay, like this felt very similar to, or this looked very similar to those games. Tennessee game last year, Michigan game felt very similar, and I know a lot of folks are going to be saying, hey, is Bama in if they lost and it looked very ugly. I will find my tweet here on X, my post, and I'll sort of echo what I just said here and what other folks are saying about this whole Bama situation. Bama being left out. If they're, this is again me coming from what I said on Twitter. If Bama is left out, if they are indeed left out, this will accelerate changes in conference championships. I cannot imagine the SEC runner-up being left out. Remember who ESPN, and you didn't realize it by now, they own the rights to the College Football Playoff TV rights. Remember who ESPN is in bed with. And the words of Greg Sankey, the year that Florida State was left out of the College Football Playoff, one of these things is not like the other, using the old Sesame Street quote. I think Bama is still in regardless. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds insane. I know that sounds like I should belong in a psych ward. They are still in. I guarantee you they'll still be in. If they are not in, if they are left out, there'll be a lot of pissed off folks in Birmingham, Alabama tomorrow. I guarantee you, Greg Sankey, those folks there, I cannot fathom what that office will be like tomorrow if they're left out. If the SEC runner-up is left out, they will be in. Make no doubts about it. They'll be in. If they're not only will you have a lot of pissed off folks in Birmingham, Alabama tomorrow, but you'll also have accelerated changes to conference championships, meaning that they will become basically the dinosaur and they'll be going away. Because a lot of folks assumed for the longest time, going back to last year and years past, that conference championship participants should be in. You'll not be punished for losing your conference championship. So if you're the playoff committee, you're in a tough situation here. Do you keep them in and keep the status quo, or do you piss off a lot of folks and some of your power players? It's their choice, not mine. If it was me, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't piss off Greg Sankey and those folks there who you're kind of chained to, both them and ESPN. So it's in your best interest to keep them in. That's all I'm saying. Now, look, in theory, do I think they should be in Bama based on their performance this year? And everyone can bring up, they have close games and whatnot. And look, I've brought up, Kellen DeBoer at Washington his final year there, which was the national championship year, a bunch of close games. Some of them were against really shitty teams in the Pac-12. So that shouldn't surprise you. But given this whole world of strength of schedule and whatnot, and TV ratings and sex appeal, Bama will be in. Again, as someone who has been a staunch defender of the ACC and defending Florida State being left out, and don't worry, we'll give you an update on the ACC championship game. Looks like Duke is about to win. Bama's going to be in. I guarantee you Bama will be in. Bama should be in, based on the fact that it just boggles the mind you leaving out a conference championship participant. Now, you can say all you want, you can yell all you want about, they got blown out and whatnot, and they shouldn't be in. Again, look who ESPN's in bed with. Look who the SEC's in bed with. Look who the College Football Playoff is deeply in bed with. Do you want to piss those folks off? Because remember, back a few months ago, back in the spring, when Greg Sankey and all of them are touting behind the scenes, hey man, look, if this sport's going the way it's going, we'll take our bag and leave. In terms of the playoff expansion, I guarantee you, if this happens, they're taking their bag and they're leaving. Bye-bye to the College Football Playoff. So, and thus ushering in this new era of the AFC NFC model. So again, in terms of the ramifications for down the road, like downstream or downriver, this is huge. This is huge. So unlike last year, where you could easily poke holes to my argument for Bama being in over SMU, this is different. Okay, this is way different. So Bama will be in. Congrats to Georgia for winning the SEC, finally solving the Bama issue. Let's see here. Moving on. Ohio State, Indiana. The total points score in this game was 23 points by both teams. Classic slugfest game, very physical game, as I thought it would be if Indiana. How about that? On the show, both shows, I told you guys, look, if Indiana wasn't win this game, it was going to be a low-scoring game. If Indiana was either going to win the game or keep it close, it was a low-scoring game, and they won. It wasn't very appealing. Fernando Mendoza had his worst game of the year, frankly. Didn't matter. The will of this team, the will of Coach Sig and that staff there to win, as the John Cena meme, win and win and win. They keep on winning. He's willing that team in the victory every single week. And it's amazing, and that's where he gets that from is Coach Saban, right? That same mentality. You can also make the argument, too, they have the best quarterback in school history, and that is true. And look, I will grant you, both them and Vanderbilt, once Mendoza and Pavia end up leaving their respective schools, yes, those schools will return to the usual way they do things. But, how about that? Indiana winning the Big Ten championship game, first one in that championship format, and first outright since the 60s, since the Cold War when the Soviet Union was around. How about that? And for Ohio State, too, I mean, look, man, penalties, turnovers, special teams issues bogged them. They'll be fine. I think they should get one of the 4 spots. I think, though, based on some movement, there's also the outside chance they could get a home playoff game. Meanwhile, the ACC championship game. How about this? So the game's still going on as I'm doing this, so we don't know the result here. But at the moment, it certainly looked like the ACC playoff chaos scenario was going to take place here. But it looks like Duke has tied the game of field goals. So that game is, for all intents and purposes, probably going to overtime. So we won't know the result yet as I post this video, but I'll put something out on Twitter later. But look, man, if the ACC chaos theory happens here and Duke ends up winning this game somehow, Duke Blue Devils, again, in advance, congratulations to Manny Diaz and company, they will not be in the playoff, nor will Virginia. So then it becomes, well, will it be Miami or Notre Dame? I would tend to believe Miami should be in because you have to honor the head-to-head, and I don't think the College Football Playoff Committee, and I agree with Josh Pate, I don't know how comfortable they would be to leave out the ACC again after having doing this. Granted, was the old model years ago. That would be where if I were the committee, using the computer model and then talking about the rankings and then making the appropriate changes and then releasing them, would I feel comfortable leaving out the ACC again after doing it back in the old model several years ago? I don't know how comfortable they feel about it. It's obviously they do feel somewhat comfortable because they have multiple G5 teams ahead of Duke, right? So if Duke were to win this and certain things fall into place now, that means Miami's probably out and so is Notre Dame. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, that game's about to go to overtime, looks like. So we are, doing this as the game's going on. So again, I think Bama's in. I think Miami and Notre Dame are out. I think the 2 G5s are in as well. I think Tulane's in, and so was JMU. So again, we have not seen the ACC results yet here. That game is to be determined. And yes, I do think BYU is out as well. So they are not going to be in the college football playoffs. So there is that. Don't think there's anything else to talk about. We did the Matt Campbell video yesterday. If you want to know more about that, go watch that. So, thought we were going to get results here in the conference championship weekend, but again, one of the games literally just went to overtime as I'm recording this, the ACC championship game. So I'll go back to watching that. I'll put out a tweet about it later. Hoping the ACC chaos theory doesn't happen, but it looks like it's going to, I think. So there is that. So, again, I think Bama's in. Regardless, I think Bama's in. Again, I know it sounds psychotic. I know it sounds backwards thinking, but look, they look shaky and whatnot, but I think they're going to be in. Again, it's kind of like the example JD Piquel brought up on Twitter earlier. He's like, so you're going to punish someone for failing the extra credit? Like, that's what we're going to. Again, if Bama's left out, this will have massive ramifications on the future of conference championships and the college football playoff in general. So just saying, again, if you're the playoff committee, got to be careful here. You got to be very careful how you do this tomorrow, because they're going to piss off a lot of folks in Birmingham, Alabama, a lot of powerful folks too, who have a lot of pull in the sport. Whether we like it or not, that's the way it is. So again, we'll do our show on Tuesday as normal and Thursday. So of course the Bucks play tomorrow, but cultural playoff. We'll do the reaction on Twitter and whatnot, so we won't do a video on this tomorrow more than likely. Our reaction will be on Tuesday. So until Tuesday, enjoy the games tomorrow for the NFL. I guess enjoy the rest of this Duke and West Virginia game, or not West Virginia, Duke Virginia game. Until then, we'll see you guys on Tuesday.